Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to UNCC versus Vanderbilt. I am Nobody, and I am here with my friend. What do you want to be called? Yeah, there you go. Silent Angel. He's gonna be your caster for today. And let's go through picks and bans. Unfortunately, I can't show you picks and bans because they started Champ Select ahead of us. Quality, I know. It's perfect. 10 out of 10. Streaming quality. So I'll read it out aloud for you. On the blue side, we have Maokai, Varus, Rek'Sai Ben. And on the blue side, we have Orianna, Echo, and Victor. And then UNC Charlotte has already locked in Rengar, first pick. And now Vanderbilt is on second rotation. It's clear that Vanderbilt completely targets their mid laner, because that's their highest ranked player. Yeah, and with the Maokai ban, there are going to be some interesting top laning picks that we're going to see here. I just want to remind everyone that there is no video right now because we don't have access to Champion Select. So just a fair warning, there is also a 5-minute delay. So if there is any problem with this stream, I apologize 5 minutes in advance. So good, right? Quality. Whoa, 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 Rammus? For what? What? Oh, right, it's a filler. No, it's a filler. Remember, if they don't have a champion, so I've heard of this rule before. Happened last time. If they don't have a champion, they picked any filler champion and let the enemy team know ahead of time. So you say I'm going to pick X, but I don't have it, so I'm just going to pick Rammus, and then we redo the draft, and then just lock everything in. So what do you? Seriously, Riot, do something about it. Yeah, too complicated, but I was talking about lowering the price of champions. There's 130 something for crying out loud. Could just... It's gonna be their... Yeah, it is a support pick, so... What I'm curious is that he got his Yorick. Would you look at that? Are they gonna get in the... But... So I think that Teemo is also... No, the Teemo's a filler. So yeah, now they dodge. Ooh, ooh. So it's probably not Cho'Gath then. Oh yeah, it was Nautilus, not Teemo. Nautilus is very much more expensive. Versus Nautilus. I'm to bully. Okay, so it's a Lulu support. Lulu also very expensive champion. What I'm curious is about the mid lane, because I've heard that Men of Sex plays Diana, but I had never actually seen it. So maybe it's like this pocket pick that they've been saving just for the right moment. Hmm. Yeah, that damage is huge. By the way, can you click on spectate game now, or is it still not letting you? Very, very, very clever. And my league client is acting up too. And they're and Riot. Okay, yeah, I just got in. Spectator delay, 80 seconds to go. Okay, now I can finally put it on the stream. Everybody can see. Okay, that's fine. Um, finally have it here. This is gonna be fun.
Game. But why we've been talking about what lanes are going to be shoving and which lanes aren't is actually really, really important. It's Kha'Zix Rengar matchup. Kha'Zix does have the higher pressure pre-6. It's going to want to make stuff happen in the lanes before that, but before Rengar can start getting those really potent level 6 ganks off. But if all these lanes for UNCC are going to be able to shove in, it's not going to work.
Oh, by the way, we don't have ads, so if you don't want ads, watch our channel. And if you want tons of ads, you go to the other channel, this Collegiate Star League channel.
Murillo, apparently you need to fix the audio on your end because I'm either really quiet or muted. You need to fix that.
I did.
Oh,
Yay,
okay.
5-minute delay.
Ooh, 5-minute delay.
You see, this is what I hate about this 5-minute delay rule. It's because we only now got informed that something was wrong.
Hmm.
And then now we have to wait a whole 5 minutes.
For all of those beautiful and wonderful things I said
To not.
not matter at all.
Yay, Riot. Say something, Alex.
Well,
There you go.
all right. Well, the CSL stream was so. Oh, I can actually spectate you. Finally,
Yes, you can
I
spectate
can
me
see. I can see these freaking pick bands again. Talk more about all the super fun things these lanes are going to be doing, and all the level 1 shenanigans that may happen. Given the fact that there's a Zyra for Vanderbilt, if she starts root, that would pretty much give the level 1 advantage to them if they really want to try and pressure something. Also be interesting to see which camps the junglers start on. Given the way top lane's going to be shove and how mid lane's going to be swinging on a counter matchup that we don't really know that well, I'd expect both junglers to want to be finishing their clears on the top side. So Kha'Zix starting blue and Rengar starting red. So that way they can put pressure on that side of the map. But knowing that, since Vanderbilt have the level 1 advantage with the Zyra, they could try to get force the Rengar to start on his blue side.
Yay!
And it does look like they're going for that, putting that pressure on the bot side. Both teams looking like they wanted to set up for those bot side starts for their junglers.
So Ward War is already beginning right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Division.
Vanderbilt really did get the information they were after. They saw Rengar starting bottom side on his red. If they wanted to be really tricky, he could move his way up to the top lane. We have, perfect information as spectators, and we know he isn't. But yeah, it's going to be the blue start for Kha'Zix, the red start for Rengar, with both bottom lanes leashing, which is something very different than we normally see out of the competitive scene, where the bot lanes are putting such heavy priority on level 2. Getting level 2 first, that they almost never leash unless they're really, really trying to snowball
I
said junglers ahead.
I hope that UNCC can survive this early game because Jin Zyra is gonna be so punishing.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna hurt so much. But then again, that Boots start Jin. He really wants to dodge those skill shots.
Well, the boots and 4-pot start is really common, especially if you're looking to trade really, really heavily, because getting extra pots gives you way more effective HP than the 60 or 80 health you get with the Doran's blade would give you.
What about Longsword 3 pots?
Longsword 3 pots is much higher damage and does the same thing, but up against the Ezreal, I think the Boots 4 is the correct spot, the correct start, for sure. And as you can see, it's gotten them that level 2 advantage. They're able to put a ton of pressure onto Virtuoso down there in the bottom lane. He's going to need to use his pot and heal up. See, he...
But the Gen 4 shot is nothing to be kidding, to be joking about.
Oh yes, you can exert a lot of lane pressure while you have that 4th shot available. Which I'm actually surprised he didn't go for some sort of trade there. But here's the pressure up top lane. Yorick
Yeah,
versus Nautilus.
Nautilus's
This
flash. Are they gonna
Oh,
flash it? Oh,
yeah, there's
first
first
blood.
blood for the Rengar. Can Kha'Zix get a return kill? No. Yorick screens him off. The Nautilus, despite blowing his flash and getting a very good dredge line, Notorious Gay, not fearing the turret at all, just goes ahead, dives him with the Q up, gets that first blood. That'll start both snowballing him as the Rengar ahead of the Kha'Zix and get that Yorick lane, which was expected to already be very, very strong in the early game, even further ahead. And Nautilus also burned his teleport to get back in lane and try not to get behind on farm and experience. So this is an even bigger trade, because now you can look for an early teleport into the bot lane or something like that to really try and open up the map for Charlotte.
Yeah, applied that extra pressure. Charlotte creating a sizable gold lead right off the bat.
500, about 450 gold off of the assisted first blood. It's to be expected.
Yeah, but
And
having...
get a big...
Go ahead.
I would say the big thing to note up here in the top lane is that even though Yorick did recall, which is why he's shoved in right now against Nautilus, he did not use his teleport to get back into lane because he was able to shove in the Nautilus earlier. And there you can see,
Oh my god.
flashing in for the kill, using that flash advantage. Just Zero Eternal does not know how to handle this Yorick. And now a kill and an assist down is going to get very nasty very fast.
And he's gonna be a
But-
level up too because of the farm.
Yep. The big thing that needs to happen, though, is Touch Me Gabe needs to take this advantage into the rest of the map. He needs to be roaming down to mid lane or teleporting down to bot lane. Because, to be frank, while mid lane is going even, bot lane needs his help right now. They're getting very shoved in and losing the poke war down here. Not very far behind in either CS and even on experience, but very much down in pressure. So that is still a point of power that Ominous Mirror on the Kha'Zix could look to work around, but Notorious Gad knows this and is actually taking the initiative and coming down to the bot lane first. They're going to try and turn this around. Rengar in a lot of exhaust burn from both sides. There he goes. He goes down. Can they turn two onto the Lulu? Trying to focus one. Nope, not focusing at all. It's a double kill, though.
And that's
And
three.
the third shot from Jin. That's a 3-2 kill lead. And the gold lead swinging back with that huge counter gank out of Ominous Mirror.
That's why Kha'Zix
Rengar,
is strong.
that was next point of trading in mid. Man of Sex getting the better version of that. A really, really late exhaust out of the Rise with Jiwoo. But returning down to that counter gank in bottom, which they're actually getting Dragon out of right now.
Should really try to get advantage out of it, you know?
Yeah, and that's going to be in early Ocean Drake taken out of that counter gank. So 3 kills and an Ocean Drake. That's going to put the Kha'Zix super far ahead with the 2 kills and an assist. And then there's just going to be way more pressure for Jin and Zyra here.
Yeah, the serrated Dirk on Jin already. Ezreal gonna be really difficult with only a tier.
Alright.
Tier doesn't give you damage. Gotta remember that. That's why it's such a high risk build. There is one thing to note is that UNCC doesn't have a true tank. So stall out this game enough and Nautilus is gonna be a monster. Looking for a moment?
Yep. Trying to mess with the keybinds because all my spectator client keybinds got bound to different stuff.
Fair enough. And the goat is dead even again. that Ezreal out farming the Jhin. That is very surprising, considering
Well,
Jhin
even
already.
getting, yeah, given the even with Jhin and Zyra applying a lot of push pressure, Ezreal can always farm very safely with his Q. So it's not actually that surprising, especially since Jhin and Zyra have been prioritizing shoving the wave and getting lane pressure over true CS advantages.
Yeah, so
And
that's the thing, right? I was talking about earlier with the builds.
mm-hmm,
Um, they didn't use any of the pots, as you can see. Jhin still has 3 pots. He only used one
mm-hmm.
because
Oh,
they
they were
kept
getting
shoving
such a.
the lane over and over again. You don't get to use those pots.
Yeah, I think they were expecting more poke damage out of the Ezreal, but he's clearly been prioritizing farm for poke, which is helping minimize the massive advantage these kills gave. But the really important thing here is this big teleport coming down to counter the Rise and Kha'Zix roam. All this teleport is really doing is just stopping that big roam
Vanderbilt
down bottom.
threatens a 4-man dive, but UNCC says no, not gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen.
And they're able to turn a little bit of pressure on this mid turn, and they're actually going to dive the Rise. Have any real kill threat here. Yeah, I'm just going to trade back and let the turret do for him, and everyone comes about even on health. It's an attempt at a show of power out of Charlotte, but Jiwoo was having none of it.
You will learn what beauty truly is.
This Ezreal is gonna be scary once he gets that tier stacked up, though.
Yes, he is.
But first, they gotta get bot turret down so Ezreal can go mid and at least have some sort of
Wow.
pressure.
What honestly might end up happening here is Ezreal getting to go mid off of Vanderbilt's turret take.
That's true too.
Both Diana and Rise do fairly well in the side lane. I think both UNCC and Vanderbilt would be more than happy enough to rotate both their bot lanes into the mid lane and move those mid laners down into the bottom lane. But Vanderbilt has had the pressure advantage the whole time, and I would expect them to be the ones to manage to get down this turret, but anything could happen.
They tried to do the 4-man dive, which would have guaranteed them the turret. But now they have to wait for Nautilus or Rise to.
No, Nautilus has had teleport for the while. If they wanted to, they could have countered
Yeah, they need a ward
the
first.
Yorick teleport with a teleport of their own, but they chose not to, instead backing off and just taking the teleport advantage. But that teleport is halfway back off cooldown now, and if Vanderbilt doesn't do something with this window, then
It's gonna be a lost
They're-
advantage.
it is going to be a lost advantage.
Oh, the bait by
Well,
Rise.
Very
It's
good
gonna-
bait, but we've also got action happening in the bottom lane at the same time. They're going to get the
gonna go
kill
down.
mid. Are they going to get the kills bottom too? That's one. That's
That's
two.
two,
A
that's
2
three.
for 1. 3 for 1 on the map for Vanderbilt. Rengar and Yorick, the only ones left alive.
No, Jhin, don't go back.
Both of these ganks timed while Rengar was back in base. I didn't notice him backing on a ward. In fact, the only ward Vanderbilt has any sort of forward pressure with is that one control ward in the bottom tri-brush. So I doubt they saw him go back. I think they just were like, well, let's go for aggressive plays in 2 lanes, and Rengar can only be in one of them, so one of them's going to work.
Yeah, this is
And
what
good
one
for
of the
them,
things
both
that
of them
really
worked.
matters. Like, if you take those kills like the 2v2 down there, Jhin should have kept pushing and at least get some turret pressure down. Because they saw Rengar, they saw Rengar taking Raptors. So they know, hey, we can take this turret. Anyways,
Yeah.
just a minor thing.
He was without his Zyra and very low HP. And so I think he just went ahead and backed off right away, knowing that Rengar is 6 and could have been there relatively quickly. It's the safer, more conservative play, but it does delay turret pressure even further.
Man, that Yorick damage is nothing to be played with.
It's over half his health with just a good trading combo. Now he's going to be stuck under turret until he can regen that back up, which the Ocean Drake will help somewhat with, but
He decides to go back instead. Ooh, that root.
yep, that good pressure and control of Tribrush allows Kha'Zix to just kind of take the Ocean Drake for free, or the Cloud Drake for free. So that's 2 dragons now for Vanderbilt. That is the one big advantage they've been able to eke out for themselves is this dragon control.
It's gonna be a huge Elder Drake to get there. But unfortunately, none of these dragons help Jin. And the next one
No,
is
they
gonna
don't.
be a Wind Drake, so...
Well,
Unless they
Wind
can
Drake.
pull a 3v3 split push. Oh, here comes the gank in the top lane. Is he gonna go in?
They dropped turret aggro, and here comes both the ults. Nautilus trying to get that return kill on Rengar, but he's going to get out of there. But Ryze is here with the Realm Warp, and they're going to trade 1-for-1 while taking bottom turret.
Oh,
Both
that
supports
Zyra
going very
damage.
low in this exchange. Ooh,
Rip.
nothing that can really be done. You are dead. That is very, very dead, Ezreal. And again,
Over
the
3,000
lead.
lead.
Yep. Yeah, that gank top was decent, but got turned around by the Rise roam. And then with that bottom turret take, this is a big map win for Vanderbilt. And their couple hundred and Drake lead is now a 3,000 gold lead, thanks to both the kill advantage they've been able to accrue and finally getting that bottom turret.
Yeah, they finally did something with their lead, which is good. They're trying to learn. Always do something at the macro level.
Now
Yeah.
they're pressuring mid. Charlotte is way behind on this rotation. This should be the turret if they can have enough minions, which they do not quite. But Diana trying to trade, but has to go melee to make those trades. And she got half of Kha'Zix's health for half of her own returned by the Rise. And I don't think that Charlotte can really do anything to counter this siege. Ezreal's really their only good ranged wave clear. And I wouldn't even call Ezreal wave clear good. That's going to be turret number 2 for Vanderbilt. Easy as you like. Continuing to expand their gold lead to almost 4,000.
This is what happens when you triple ban the mid lane. Oh boy.
Rise getting dove. And
No flash for the next 10 seconds. Can he survive the
Yep.
end?
He's going to go down, but here comes the counter collapse from Vanderbilt. Really good Zyra ultimate, forces a bunch of flashes and gets the kill on the one person who didn't have it.
But they're not done yet.
Shin
They
ult.
want more.
Okay. They're going to get even more. Probably going to be getting the sacrificial support here. Yep, the root lands. That's going to be a dead Lulu. Are they going to get Rengar as well? I feel like they should probably let him go and try to pressure a lane instead, but they're going to chase for this kill.
Chasing is a bad idea, but I guess they really want him.
They really want him. That is another kill, but
They could have taken a turret.
maybe. Yeah. Looking at it now, mid lane was already pretty well shoved, and so was bot lane, and they've already gotten the outer turrets in both those lanes, so they would have had to have extended pretty far to get that mid lane inner turret, which I think was their best chance at taking a turret. I think there was a slim chance of them getting it, but they definitely could have taken 2/3 to 3/4 of its HP. And honestly, that's probably still more valuable than that Rengar kill, especially given the fact that they had to chase him all the way from mid lane to bot lane to secure it.
And a Rengar build is quite questionable. The big thing though is that Vanderbilt doesn't have any really deep vision on the bottom side of the map. Oh, can they get this kill on Nautilus? It's pretty tanky. Still going at him.
Yep, it's
Still going.
one very tanky person. Is he gonna trade back on the Not quite. One turret shot too short. Still, it takes so long to kill that Nautilus.
Yeah.
Sunfire Cape and a Spirit Visage with a Ninja do that. And now the pressure's top lane on this last outer that they have left. True Shot Barrage is going to spot out the Kha'Zix and help deal with the wave, but I don't think it's enough. That's going to be turret number 3 to Vanderbilt.
It's a ringer.
6 to 11 kills, but more importantly, 3 to 0 in turrets. And 6,000 gold up at 18 minutes, which is huge. Staying grouped up in case of that Rengar, but really I think that ult was more for vision to see if they'd spread out. But Vanderbilt have seen that trick a million times before. Solo queue, and they know what they're doing against it.
League?
Yeah, my spectator client froze as well, so I think it might be a Riddle Please server issue.
Okay, it's back up.
There we go, we're back. Vanderbilt trying to set up for this next dragon. It is a...
And freeze again.
Freeze again. Yep, is a second Cloud Drake, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, this doesn't benefit Jin at all.
Yeah, I mean, they've been rotating around the map a lot, doing a lot of 3 and 4 man roams, and Cloud Drake is very much a good dragon for that. It's still definitely the weakest of the dragons, but probably not deserving as much crap as everyone wants to give it. That is a free... About as free as a dragon will ever get for anyone. And at the minimum, it makes that Elder Dragon even scarier.
Kevin, stop picking fights with people. Anyways.
As we crest the 20 minute...
Into the mid game.
Yeah, we've already been early mid game for a while, but that 20-minute mark means that Baron Nashor is on the rift, so that Dignitas memes may never die.
Heroes never die.
No, they do not. 6,000 gold, still the lead for Vanderbilt. Still 3 to 0 in turrets as they have reset the map after that dragon take.
Which is
UNCC
bad.
trying a death brush to see if they can pick someone out at Baron. Little do they know. Vanderbilt's already there. Oh, they're going to get their pick. That should be Jin going down. And they should get the Zyra as well. And they do, but Rise coming in, picking someone off at the back. That's Lulu down. Rengar going down as well with the Nautilus hook. Or is he going to get out? No, he's not. Ezreal ult comes through, but it's not going to be enough to stop them. That is 3 to 2 on kills in favor of Vanderbilt. That gold lead just... it's too much.
You can't
6,
just have
gold.
your cake and eat it too. And just take the pick and run away. They have to do.
I mean, that was a good Season 2, Season 3 Fnatic impression, but Vanderbilt, they're staying close enough to each other that they can support each other after those big Death Brush picks come in. And getting the 2 kills was good, but you need to at least be going positive in these kill trades to try to lengthen the game and minimize the advantages that Vanderbilt get. 3 to 2 is just, it's not good enough. Doesn't do too much as far as gold is concerned. Yeah. It stalls out the game a little bit, but you'd rather be getting those 2 kills and then be getting out clean.
That's true.
The big thing here is, since Vanderbilt came out of that ahead in kills, they're able to establish that ward control around Baron. They've got 2 control wards and several other regular wards.
This greedy Diana.
Yeah, trying to make something happen. I mean, Charlotte's getting very desperate at that point. Yeah, they did get the turret. No one really wanting to go split push up against that Yorick, who's the closest thing to scary team member that Charlotte have, putting a lot of damage onto that Rise, forcing out the staff active.
They did.
But they answering 2 members with 3 of their own. This is what Vanderbilt has been doing the entire game, and they're going to get a kill for it. And some pressure on this bottom turret that will be cleared out with the True Sharp Barrage.
UNCC,
But
I can't really blame them though.
no, they have to make something happen. They're doing their best to stall out the game.
Meanwhile, Lulu completely missed the control word, but I don't think he cares. Baron's on the table.
UNCC is doing the wrong thing. It's just that Vanderbilt is doing the more right thing. They're the ones with the big lead, and now with the Baron take off of the pressure they were able to gain top.
Arian? If they can avoid the Nautilus hook, UNCC can get out of this
They
game.
really want to get these Baron buffs off of Vanderbilt, but Lulu is not exactly the most dangerous flanker, and they're just going to be able to pressure out through her side and get under the safety of their mid lane turret. And that gold lead is up to 8,000 with that Baron take, despite the turret that came before it from
That
UNCC.
moment when your team, that moment when when the enemy team flanks with Nautilus and your team flanks with Lulu.
That usually goes to the advantage of the team flanking with Nautilus. We've seen crazier things. Glitterlance can steal Barons even at a professional level, but usually you have to give the advantage to them. So Vanderbilt, with their Baron buff, have elected to go full Tyler 1, or if you want to be a bit more polite, full FlyQuest, and 5-man shove down mid, even though they have split push threats and side waves to manage. But they're going to get 1 free turret out of it.
Rengar ulti
And-
activated. He's not gonna go in.
He's looking for that flank, but Vanderbilt are staying super tight-knit. And I mean, there's so little really dangerous AoE out of Charlotte that they can just afford to 5-man sit on top of each other and just be like, nah, you're doing nothing. I mean, Diana Q and Yorick Q, and I guess Rengar heal is like that's the AoE that you're looking at as a Vanderbilt squad, so you don't really care about grouping up, and there's a Nautilus out damaging a Rengar. That's usually a bad sign. And
Black
they're gonna get
Cleaver
2 more
does
kills.
not do as much damage as he used to.
2 more kills for Vanderbilt, and they should be able to use this pressure to crack the inhib turret and the inhib itself in mid. Bit ambitious there from Joe the Hobo, trying to flash root an Ezreal who has Arcane Shift up. But doesn't really matter. He doesn't die. Ezreal doesn't die. Inhib goes down. And they were able to do it all before that big top wave crashed. So they're going to be able to get their inhib and eat their minions too. And a Mountain Drake on the exit, because why not?
So that means that there is not going to be any Inferno Drakes. Poor Jin. He's going to be left wanting. Not that he cares.
I think Jin is feeling all right this game with a Ghost Blade Edge of Night and a Dusk Blade of Drakthar about to be finished. I'd say he's doing okay for himself.
You can never have too much AD.
This is a very true statement. Even as an AP character, remember, that QSS you need builds into Mercurial Scimitar. Get that AD.
Get that extra 40 damage on your auto attack.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you know. Who needs Lich Banes when you can have Infinity Edge?
Nah, you can't do anything, Rengar. Go home. Oh,
I mean he could, you know, sort of suicide himself. Ooh, Rise, you're a little caught out there. That's gonna at least be the Guardian Angel. And it does go down. He doesn't have Flash. And that is a free Rise kill. UNCC finally able to get one of those picks that they need, but
That the cost.
they're going to be trading top lane turret for that pick.
And maybe
Which,
even bot lane
hashtag
too.
word. No, I don't think they shouldn't lose bot lane. Diana and Rengar should be able to at least clear off the wave. But turret for Rise and Rise's GA. A harsh trade, but a worth trade, I would say. And yeah, they're going to be able to hold this bottom turret just fine for now. But that is the next point of contention, as determined by Vanderbilt. Nautilus going ahead, zoning people way off the turret. Diana going in, getting a bit of damage down, but not super effective. I mean, that's 10,000, man. At this point, 11,000 gold for you. This damage just doesn't really matter, and they're UNCC just electing to concede. Bottom lane inner turret, as Rise is now back on the map and could ult into the fight.
And a Nexus turret went down too. But
Oh, I
as we
didn't even
learned
see
from
that.
LCS, Nexus turrets don't do shit.
I mean, they exist. You have to kill them. And, you know, sometimes when you're pushing for the very end of the game, the extra auto attacks you have to do on the Nexus turret leave you one Gnar auto attack away from winning the game and forcing game 3. I mean, it just happened.
Just Europe things.
Just Europe things.
Nexus
But yeah, no,
tanky.
losing that Nexus turret is just you concede the bot lane turret and still lose the one Nexus turret to these mid lane super minions. That's just poor wave management and poor macro out of Charlotte, honestly. If you're gonna concede the turret, don't lose the Nexus turret. Baron about to spawn again. Frankly, I don't think Vanderbilt need it. I don't think they should be trying to get it, because, you know, the worst thing that can happen is hashtag Dignitas, and Charlotte gets back in this game off a big Baron. And the fact that there are still 2 outer turrets left for them to take. But that's all assuming Charlotte even gets close enough to contest. And it's like they are going to at least put in some effort. But it might already be too late, as that Baron's been started up. It's down to a couple thousand health, and the Kha'Zix wins the 50-50. The ensuing fight, he goes down, and this is just a slaughter.
Yeah, no.
15,000 gold.
That should be game.
Yeah,
That is game,
that's
actually.
the ace. That should be game. The desperation steal. Even if Rengar got that, Vanderbilt was ready for that desperation fight. And this should be GG right here. Nautilus not even going to wait for minions. Go ahead and tank that Nexus turret on up. So we'll have to see what happens in game 2.
Gonna see what kind of draft.
The
Come up
bot
with.
lane really came up huge there for Vanderbilt. They were able to get an advantage. And get a lead for themselves on the map.
Hashtag triggered.
Just better macro play, more solid game out of Vanderbilt. They were able to get a good snowball going around the 12 to 15 minute mark, and it just never stopped. The real big turning point was that I think it was 4 for 2 down in bottom lane that resulted in that first bottom turret going down. I think that was really what opened up the game for Vanderbilt, was winning that fight, getting that turret. It was a big cross map thing, fight in the mid lane and in the bot lane, if I remember correctly.
Pretty much.
That was what opened up the game for them.
And UNCC didn't respond too well. They didn't trade the objectives. They had several chances to do it, but they still didn't do it. So we'll see.
No,
I
it took
expect a better
until
draft.
yeah, it took until after 20 minutes for that Yorick, who had such a big early game lead, to finally take down that top lane turret with how much Nautilus was roaming. It's just they really mismanaged that advantage they had in the top lane. We're not able to pressure it onto the rest of the map. And I think that's really what let UNCC down, was not taking that top advantage and snowballing it into the rest of the map, because they actually had the bigger lead in the early part of this game.
Basically.
But we'll have to see what happens in game 2. Reminder, this is a best of 3 series. So if Vanderbilt is able to win the next game, then they will be all the way through, and UNCC will be knocked out of the playoffs.
See what happens. Let me see if they can invite me this time.
That would be very nice to actually be able to properly show everyone the champion select. So the real question is how pick ban is going to change up. I think a Jhin ban out of Charlotte is definitely necessary. There's a lot of priority put onto that. It was taken in the first rotation, the Jhin and the Rise for Vanderbilt, and they really worked well with the Jhin, especially.
I do expect a Yorick ban.
Yeah, that was the one point of power that Charlotte had, and I think Vanderbilt taking it away would be very smart of them. But it also wasn't game breaking. So if they feel like they can take the pressure again and win somewhere else on the map, then they might decide to leave it up again.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, as far as picks that I would very much not like to see again, especially out of Charlotte, is the Ezreal. I think it's just too slow. I mean, he got behind early, not in CS, but in kills. And then when you're trying to stack a tier and you're not building lethality items like Varus would be, your damage spike just really doesn't come until 3 or 4 items. And he was never able to get anywhere close to that point where he can really just start 1v5ing the enemy team and kiting for days. I think it's just too slow. I'd rather see something like the Jhin, like the Varus, or come out of them.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Just give me one quick second. Getting some water. You can keep talking about their mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, there weren't too many big mistakes out of Charlotte. The double lane ganks that opened up the game for Vanderbilt, the Kha'Zix and Rise getting Diana in the mid lane, and then the 2-for-1 in the bot lane that started opening up the map and getting them the dragon control and the bot lane control, was just really well executed by Vanderbilt. It was the fact that Charlotte didn't really try to respond.
Okay, so here we go. Picks and bans.
Ooh, actual picks and bans?
Yes, I'm in. Whoa, for me, yay for me. I'll read them out to you.
I would say I'm not in, not woo.
It was full.
I can still see it. It's fine.
Okay.
So Charlotte again banning the Rek'Sai. This is a ban we're expecting out of them. The jungler Ominous Mirror is very much a Rek'Sai one trick and has a fantastic win rate. Charlotte prioritizing the Zyra ban over the Jhin ban, which is somewhat interesting, but also, again, huge pressure point in the bot, huge ability to pressure the bot lane Zyra has.
And that mid lane pool is pinched. Rise
Very
mid.
much pinched.
Varus first pick by Vanderbilt.
I mean, Varus very strong. Kind of surprised that they're going for the Varus instead of the Jhin, given the success they had on the Jhin next time. But maybe they don't feel comfortable running the Jhin without the Zyra. Should be a bit surprising to me, but that's how it is. I'd expect UNCC to try and pick up things out of other lanes. Since Jhin is still open and Varus is already picked, you don't need to prioritize that. Yorick's open again, and they did really well getting that lane advantage next time. And if they think they can get a map advantage with it, I'd expect them to be prioritizing the Yorick and then maybe a jungler or a support pick here, since lots of powerful supports like Karma are still
But
open.
instead, it's Nami and Rengar locked in for UNCC.
Okay.
Is it Nami? I don't think it's Nami, but it could be.
Well, Nami isn't bad. Her sustain does reasonably well into poke lanes. Like any lane that a Varus is in is automatically a poke lane. So I could definitely see the Nami. She will be rather vulnerable to the Varus after the Varus hits 6, since he can pick her out with his root of his ultimate. It might also help signal that UNCC wants to pick Jhin, because Nami is one of those sort of counters to Jhin, because she can just trade ult for ult and not really let Jhin have too much impact.
Ezreal Nami also really strong lane.
Ezreal Nami is another strong lane if they want to go for the Ezreal again, but as I said, I feel like the Ezreal is too slow, especially given the current lethality meta.
So Maokai and Kha'Zix locked in by Vanderbilt. Interesting.
Yeah, Kha'Zix did well on it last game. Maokai, it was banned the game before by Charlotte, so just kind of bumping up to something a bit higher on that tank tier list. I mean, really no big changes. I mean, the Jhin and the Varus do offer very different things in terms of how they act as an AD carry. You know, Jhin, much longer range. Varus, much more consistent poke. But at the same time, they're still similar enough. And again, Maokai and Nautilus, again, very similar picks.
Yep. And it's going to be Yorick Jhin for UNCC. Followed by, seems like it's going to be Corki and Thresh.
All right. Yorick makes sense. Again, did really, really well in lane, just wasn't able to transition out of the laning phase. That's something that Charlotte can fix. And Jhin, Varus is picked. Jin's the other really high tier AD carry. Go ahead and take him. Yep, the Corki and the Thresh. Thresh can be really good in Nami because of how well he can pick her out. But in the true sustain game, you know, the Jhin can go for that boot and 4-pot start, plus the Nami sustain. So Nami can just kind of hang back and actually let Jhin take more of the damage, which is unusual for a bot lane, but it actually works in the case of these two. Though Nami is very good at trading herself with the multiple wave fluxes back and forth. So again, a very, very interesting bot lane where Vanderbilt definitely has the potential to snowball this bot lane again if Thresh and Varus can get a lead, because they can get it to where that death sentence really is a death sentence. It's going to be very hard for Nami and Jhin to stay in that lane.
And it seems like it's going to be Diana again for UNCC. So
into the Corki this time. Into the Rise. Rise is kind of mid-range for a mage. I could definitely see it, you know, with that gap closed potential, and Rise wanting to kind of almost root himself with how much he belts out spells. It kind of made sense to me. Against the Corki, not nearly as much, especially once you hit level 6. I mean, yes, Diana can Q and ult in, but Corki's missile range is longer than that. So if Corki's playing the lane safe, he's never going to get hit by a Q. So Diana's going to have to blow her ult cooldown instead of getting the reset if she ever wants to go all in. And Kha'Zix was doing a really good job counter ganking. I mean, part of what opened up that game was Ryze baiting in the Diana and then Kha'Zix coming in and being like, hi, and killing her. So I don't really like it. I don't really like the Diana in this situation, given what happened last game, and now the matchup is far less favorable than it was before.
I mean, at the same time, this guy doesn't play Corki from what I know. So it could be. I mean, Corki's.
I had him put down. He's got like a 50. He's got like right on a 50% win rate with the Corki, according to OPGG.
Oh, okay.
So he does play it. Ryze and Corki are his two top champions, and so with the Ryze ban, he just goes straight down his personal tier list to Corki. So no, I like the pick. Corki very strong, mixed damage. Even with the nerfs, still good. Very viable. I like it. They're going to be able to poke and siege even more effectively than they were last game. So, I mean, if this mid lane and bot lane really start snowballing out of control, kind of like they did last game, I think Charlotte's going to find themselves in the same predicament, but worse, as they did last game.
Yeah,
now that Vanderbilt has a stronger siege comp with really reliable engage out of the Maokai instead of the Nautilus. They've still got that Kha'Zix for that high pressure lethality jungler, and they have even more poke than the Jhin offered and more siege preference now that they have both the Corki and the Varus. And then you have Peel. Thresh doesn't peel as well as a Zyra, but he also offers more engage than a Zyra does. So I could really see this game getting out of hand very quickly for Vanderbilt. I think Charlotte's picked themselves into the same shortcomings and set them up for basically a repeat game if they once again cannot get this top lane advantage to snowball into the other lanes. If they do, this could be fine, because I'm expecting this Yorick. He dumpstered the Nautilus. I'm expecting him to dumpster the Maokai, even though, it's another game of playing into it, and they're going to be, Zero Eternal is going to be a bit more experienced on what exactly this Yorick can do. But if they can't translate that into a map lead again, I think they're just going to lose to the Poke and Siege, even in an even game.
Yeah, and what's UNCC's win condition here? What are they going to have to do?
They're going to have to out team fight, really. They're going to have to force fights at Baron and Elder Dragon. They're not really going to be able to siege. They're very heavily out wave cleared in these two comps. I don't like it at all. I don't like this draft out of Charlotte. I think it's a very bad draft, especially that Diana pick. I find very suspect. And I think personally, I think Rengar is weaker than Kha'Zix as well. That's up for debate. I'll freely admit that's up for debate. That's just a personal thing. If Charlotte prefers playing Rengar over Kha'Zix, it's fine. Do it. But this Diana pick really just does not make sense to me in this situation.
So now we go into the loading screen. Hopefully everybody has a decent computer and can load really fast.
Yeah, there weren't any problems with it last game. The only connection problems we had were courtesy of Riot themselves, as per usual.
Always.
Always. All right, see if we have any level 1 shenanigans this game. weren't a whole lot to speak of last game. Just that one little bit of trade onto Rise as Vanderbilt went and spotted out that, oh, hey, Rengar's starting on red on the bottom side. That was it last game. This time, again, I think this is the junglers are going to be starting a bit differently this time. I think Kha'Zix is going to I think both junglers are going to be wanting to start their own blue. I think Rengar is going to be wanting to do a repeat of last game where he starts on the bottom side, moves to top, gets that first blood on the Maokai. But I think Kha'Zix is actually going to want to finish bottom and try and set something up with this Thresh and Varus. But no, Vanderbilt's looking like they're setting up for a 5-man invade of the red side for UNCC, top quadrant of the jungle. Yorick going to spot them out, walking away a little slower than he might have wanted, but saves himself with that area zone control. And they're going to get a ward in to try and spot out the Rengar as he does his clear. That is Thresh's trinket ward right there.
Oh, our UNCC.
Charlotte trying to answer, but it's counter invade. This is really, really hairy. They haven't seen each other. They're going to walk out, and they're going to get out of here for free.
Well,
getting both of those wards down. That's an excellent vision. They're going to see Kha'Zix starting bottom side, contrary to what I thought he would do. I was thinking he was going to start top side this time, but nope, starting bottoms. Both junglers are going to finish on top up near that volatile Yorick lane again. Maybe Vanderbilt is thinking we'll send our jungle pressure up there this time because they want to try and win all 3 lanes this time instead of conceding up that top advantage, which is admirable, but
and Ryan,
honestly don't think necessary.
Zawado.
Or something.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, your meme of the day.
Right. Rengar going for the Gromp after blue, while Kha'Zix going directly from red to blue buff. Towards
Wait,
UNCC.
did he really?
Yep, Kha'Zix going straight from red to blue.
Jin stole red.
Did Jin steal red?
Yes, Jin stole red.
Jin stole red. Well then. That's really that throws a wrench into everything.
Oh my god. That's why they wanted that word.
That's what they were going for. I did not notice.
Ooh.
There's a lot of people disconnecting and reconnecting. For the Vanderbilt side, both Zero Eternal and Vandy lane, top lane and ADC, disconnecting and reconnecting.
Jin steals
Riot, please.
Jin steals
that Jin red buff. Because it does his bouncing grenade proc that?
No. His ult does,
that's what I thought. Yeah, well, that's not gonna matter. So
I mean,
so he's gonna need to get the auto attack harass to really get that off, because if I remember correctly, his root doesn't apply it either. Doesn't apply on hit effects either, right? I don't think it does. He has. It's not the big. Yeah, he didn't. The big thing is the deny. It's not actually going to do a whole lot for him lane pressure wise.
Yeah, but he is gonna delay Kha'Zix. You see, Rengar's already gonna get level 3.
Yes, because Kha'Zix is now having to take his second buff at level 1, while Rengar is almost level 3, going for, hopefully, I'm assuming he's going for the full clear now.
Yeah, he needs
you should go for the full clear now, because you know that he's so far behind.
Yeah, there is no risk of invade from Kha'Zix.
Oh, he can't. I like the adaptation of going straight up to top side, because he can do 2 fully isolated camps in his blue buff and his Gromp. which
Yeah,
will
oh yeah, that's
somewhat
what one of
save
the
him.
things that made Kha'Zix really broken was the isolation bonus from the buffs.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So both the blue and the Gromp are going to be isolated for him. I mean, I was thinking the reason I wasn't so surprised he was going for blue was because I actually thought this was going to be his path if he was going to start on the bottom side. I was actually thinking he was going to be red to blue to Gromp for level 3 and then counter gank top lane with that bottom start was what I was assuming. But now it's probably going to be a blue to Gromp to Wolves if he can, if he still has the health. Because I think he's out of charges on his Hunter's pot. I think he just used the second one.
Yeah,
So
he's
the
gonna
health he
go
had,
back.
the sustain he has now is all he's. I think he's probably going to have to go back off Gromp.
Yeah, either
So
that
he's
or
going to be
take the
backing
risk.
on level 2 with 2 camps worth of gold, which is just awful.
Yeah,
That's
Rengar's
just going to
gonna be
feel awful.
1.5 levels above
About
Kha'Zix.
almost 1.5 levels up. The question's what he's going to be able to do with it while his camps are respawning. Since he's going to do full clear, gank if he has health, go back if he doesn't, and then what does he do with that time before his bottom side camps start coming back up? Because while that's happening, Kha'Zix is going to be able to farm out his own bottom side and start catching back up. So that's the real question for me: is what does Rengar do with that time he's going to have with that 1.5 level-ish advantage? Oh, Kha'Zix, he knows he's behind, but this is desperate. You can see him on the mini map starting to.
No, he's going for the
No,
scuttle.
he's just taking scuttle.
Yeah, just for the extra
He-
HP.
Yeah, he needs that HP. And then I guess he's gonna go Gromp into the rest of his clear. It's a good adaptation by him. I didn't even think about that. You can tell how much I play jungle.
That's usually what I do if I'm behind. So I'm gonna take Scuttle Crab because that's a lot of HP.
It is. It's good experience as well. Surprising amount of gold in the XP for that camp. He's got the Gromp. And starting to roam. Getting some good deep vision on the Rengar. Knows that his Raptors are up. And it looks like he's actually going for the counter jungle in that Raptor camp while Rengar's in his race. Yorick very pushed in the top lane. This mid lane Diana doing reasonably well for now. The real swing in the lane isn't until Corki hits level 6 when he gets that missile barrage coming in. Down in the bot lane, Varus with a small CS lead early in the game. But Jhin, the Jhin Nami lane with the bit of extra pressure, but very little trading has happened. Everybody still has all of the health pots they started with in that lane. Been very, very agrarian down there.
This Rengar hasn't been putting enough pressure, to be honest.
No, he hasn't done a whole lot. I mean, he got the pink ward in the top side river. He was able to get himself a ward kill off of that, but hasn't really been pressuring any of the lanes. We're going to get our first bit of trading down in the bottom. Going to go very low there, does the Jhin, but he's going to be able to sustain back up off of that. That should start giving the push and shove advantage over to the Thresh, though. Thresh goes into hardcore zone core. Rengar chilling out over in the blue side jungle of Kha'Zix. Taking those wolves, but Kha'Zix just being like, KK, I'll take your Gromp for it. And really, we're still just sitting on that 1 level advantage between Rengar and the Kha'Zix is the only real swing in this game.
Oh boy,
We're finally getting that gank up top, but
no Bola.
1 flash, and it was K. It's a good flash by Maokai, very necessary. More hooks landing, but really all it does is put Jin into range for Nami to harass Varus. Quality worth hook right there. Kha'Zix's doing the extended stay. Rengar coming close to him. They're not quite going to see each other, though.
Let's hope this
Kha'Zix
game
can go ahead and ward up that blue buff. That's going to be seen on the respawn. That's actually going to give Kha'Zix a chance to get back into this game. I believe that ward did not get cleared out. No, it did not. Yeah, Rengar has not really been able to find anything with that level advantage that is really down now to maybe a half a level advantage.
Not even.
Hasn't really been getting... Yeah, not even. And Kha'Zix has more better deep wards. This is really starting to look like Kha'Zix has gotten himself out of that hole caused by the Jin level 1 red buff steal. Which is a very good job by Ominous Mirror, really understanding his pathing and where Rengar would have to be on the map, and he's equalized. Equalized very well.
This is why jungle wards are so important.
Yep.
You need that vision to know where they are. Otherwise, what are you gonna do? Nope.
Oh. Rengar setting up to... Is he gonna take or hand off his blue buff?
Looks like he's
This
just
is
gonna
looking like
take
a
it.
take. Yep, and he does finish it, but that ward gets the timer for Kha'Zix, and at this point I think he effectively actually has the advantage in the matchup now, even though Rengar is about to hit 6.
But the big thing is that Kha'Zix wasn't able to gank.
You know, Kha'Zix was not able to gank pre-6, but
Which
I mean,
gives an
effectively
edge
what
to
this
Rengar.
does... Effectively what this does is makes the game even. Which is good. Like, that's good. You were down early and now you're even. This is a positive net trade.
And now
Or
Rengar
net
is
gain
6.
for Vanderbilt. Yeah, Rengar is 6. Kha'Zix gets 6 off of that blue buff. We've started to get some of the first buys for all the lanes coming in. Got the Sheen for the Triforce coming in, and Rengar almost died to that red buff. That's scary.
Yeah,
Got the Sheen coming into the Yorick compared to the Bomby's Cinder. Sheen and Phage components for Corki versus Diana, going for a tankier build, I believe, this time.
She did Roa last game too, I think.
She did do Roa last game as well?
Or not Roa, the Hextech thing.
The Hextech thing that builds out a catalyst?
Yeah. We go Corki with a
Whatever it's called.
package.
The GLP, I think.
Yeah, GL.
Corki does. Yep. Corki has the package. He should be looking to roam. I'm gonna go ahead and gain control. Oh, nope, you're gonna use it for a gank, knocking the Diana backwards to let the Kha'Zix in, but Diana flashes over the wall. They're gonna flash to follow. That's Blood fighting down the bikes out in the bot lane as well. Rengar coming in. Jin ult going to go out. Lands a couple, but that's no kill secured. That's gonna be first blood scot-free. Oh, but is Nami overextended? Yeah, gets her.
Wow.
Try and trade
Really
back.
big misplay by
Nothing.
Rengar right there.
Close. And the heal baits. And the TPs and roams.
And
That's going to be an overall 4-1
easy.
in favor of Vanderbilt. And they should be able to get Cloud Drake off of this. Be going ahead and starting pulling it out. Action broke out in all 3 lanes at once. Yorick attempted to tower dive Maokai, almost got the kill, but was able to get out with his life. Had that package gank in mid lane on Diana that got first blood. And then there was the 2v2 fight that ended up getting roamed down to with a teleport from Maokai and a roam down from Kha'Zix after ganking mid. That went 3 for 1 after Rengar joined in as well. So 4 for 1 and a Cloud Drake. That's a 2,000 gold lead, but this time Yorick is getting a lot more pressure on that top turret. Big improvement over last game, where he wasn't able to get that turret until after the 20-minute mark.
Well, that's what happens. And no vision there, so can't really do anything if you don't know where Kha'Zix is.
Well, UNCC does have some vision control around the dragon that's already, so you know, super helpful. But top side of the map, very, very empty. But that means Yorick's going to have free time with Maokai, and honestly, I don't think he's going to complain too much about that. Already shoving him in some more. Diana going in on mid. Are they going to dive the turret? They are. Rengar gets the powered Q, and that's all she wrote for the dwarf named Pork. I mean, Rengar plus Diana, that's a lot of burst. He did not have his exhaust or flash. Couldn't really do anything about it. I mean, it was a pretty free gank. I mean, the only thing he really could have been doing about it was staying really, really far back. We've got an attempted teleport gank in the bottom from the Diana. He's going to go in. Can she get the Varus? She can. Are they going to get the Thresh too? Yes, they are. It's a double kill for the Diana. Whew. That's huge. And Charlotte, this time, being a lot more proactive about trying to get themselves back in the game. They're going to go for first brick, and I don't think Vanderbilt have a way to counter pressure this, with Kha'Zix already being on the top side. Rengar holding down mid lane against the Corki. They're going to run out of minions, but I think they can just tank up and burn through the backdoor bonus.
Easy, right?
And there we go. That's first brick, and that 2,000 gold lead is
0.
Now 500 in the other direction. Charlotte doing a fantastic job coming back into the game against that early disadvantage. Much, much better than they did last game after going down.
Sighs of relief coming from Charlotte.
Oh, yes.
Not under pressure anymore.
Yeah, there's still going to be some pressure. Looks like Jin's rotating to the top lane. They're going to want to get that turret after Nami helps Diana collect and shove out in the mid lane.
Yeah, they have to switch lanes now to prevent the bottom lane from going down.
Well, Varus solo farming in bottom, but Thresh going ahead and recalling. They've seen Jin top lane, but he's not exactly trying to push out the lane. Okay, getting the ward down. That's fair. He's going to go ahead and start pushing down onto that already very, very low top turret.
UNCC with much better macro this game than last game.
They have the tempo advantage, and they're using it fairly well. But another package gank onto the Diana, but she just says, okay, God. I'll take your Varus. Does a huge chunk of damage, and Varus having to back out, can't get the damage down himself.
If it wasn't for that
Diana's going to get out for free unless Kha'Zix decides to dive. It looks like they are. But the flash on the W. Oh, but the Q wasn't quite close enough to the minions. Got the isolated damage. Barely gets the kill, but quickly traded back.
Oh, no turret for Maokai this time.
No turret for Maokai. He's trying to use that ult, but it's going to run out, and he's already down in health. That's to try to flash away, but can Yorick chase him down? We're not sure. Well, Jen gets that top turret. Can he get him? No. Just Maokai, just slightly too tanky. But Yorick, you can see just how much pressure this Yorick has over the Maokai.
And not even a Triforce completed yet.
Not even a Triforce. That's the scariest part out of all of this. But that pressure means they're going to be able to make an action on that bot lane turret and secure vision in this red jungle. Very good out of Charlotte again. Even cleaner macro than we were seeing out of Vanderbilt last game, which is a real good sign.
Oh yeah, and that's scary.
We may be getting a game 3.
Yeah, but Yorick has a family now, and she's taking the turret slowly.
Every bit of chip damage counts. Charlotte trying to 4-man siege, but Corky on his own is basically going to handle that.
I mean, they did nerf
super
Corky.
powerful Nami auto attacks on that turret, really hammering it down. But this pressure is preventing Vanderbilt from being able to manage that top wave, and they're losing farm right now to that turret. And Maokai not going to be able to pick up as much of that as he would like. Again, tempo still very much in the hands of Charlotte here, as they continue to hold mid against both Corky and Varus, the two big wave clear factors for Vanderbilt. And now it's going to be Diana's turn, it looks like, to pressure the bot lane, now that it's been pushed back out.
Yeah, you can do a beautiful 1-3-1 here with Charlotte's comp.
Yes, and they even took teleport on their mid laner to help facilitate that. Corky running the exhaust, knowing how much burst he'd have to handle from Diana. That means we've got 2 teleports to 1. Diana's almost back off cooldown, about another 20 seconds left. Yorick, I don't even know if he's used to teleport yet this game, but it's off cooldown as well. And he's ready to pressure down this top side. Maokai just can't seem to get away from him. But the real pressure point that Vanderbilt have is this very strong Corky Varus siege, and that's going to net them mid-turret and get them back into this game. Only 1,000 gold down, exact same as the turret difference. Yep, and they're going to use that mid lane pressure to try and take turret. They see Rengar. They're going to be able to get this dragon, it looks like. That's going to be an Ocean Dragon. Cloud and Ocean. Reverse order, but same dragons as last game. Flash Varus ult onto Rengar. He should go down, but they don't get him. I think Rengar got the stealth off before the Varus hit, so they couldn't actually target him with any auto attacks. Diana getting a ton of pressure on this turret. That teleport, you know it's a tree, but trees don't deal damage.
And the re-engage.
Rengar going, whoa, that was way too far in by Rengar there. Nami, why you try to save? Yeah, Corky damage is real. Diana, what are you doing? 1 for 1, I guess.
Oh, Yorick got top
turret.
turret.
Is real. Yorick got top turret. Charlotte doing a fantastic job. That Rengar going in might have been just to try and prevent people from getting to Yorick and Diana for help. In which case, 2 turrets for a Rengar and a fish. That's pretty worth. Cat and a fish. Vanderbilt looking into opening a Chinese restaurant.
One of those very cheap ones.
Oh, yeah.
But mid turret's still up. That's the big one.
Yep. But it's the only turret that Vanderbilt has. They're down 4-1. I mean, you can really tell the difference in power that these two comps have by the turrets. Charlotte, with their very strong 1-3-1, have taken all 4 side lane turrets. And with the strong Siege and Poke comp, Vanderbilt have gotten a mid turret. The problem is, it's really hard to maintain that pressure mid when you're losing so hard on the sides. Because with both of those teleports, or even just walking roams, you can get flanked very easily while trying to siege. And that Yorick and that Diana will eat Corky and Varus alive, and at that point, where's your damage? Advantage Charlotte. They just have to hold as hard as they can with the Rengar, Jhin, and Nami in the mid lane. Got a wave pushing for them in top, and Diana split pushing down in the bottom, while the siege mid is trying to be put on. And they're going to go ahead and engage, just to prevent them from going anywhere. Diana diving on in. Varus almost popped immediately, but he's able to survive. Tank's doing a lot of tanking, but They're starting to turn this around. That's 1 kill for Vanderbilt, 2 kills for Vanderbilt, 3 kills for Vanderbilt. Maokai in the back line, 4 kills for Vanderbilt.
Man, trees.
I mean, that most of that fight, the big meat of that fight was happening while everyone on Vanderbilt was able to stand inside of that Maokai ult. And they're going to be able to get Baron off of this, which is going to be huge for them. Because that 3-man hold that was just barely holding on is not going to be able to stop Baron buffed minions. It's just not. And this is just going to stall out the split push capabilities for the next 3.5, 4 minutes for Charlotte. Just they can't split push right now because they need all 5 people mid to counter this Baron buff.
It's gonna be
But it looks like Vanderbilt is actually going to choose to split up themselves. Normally the right thing to do with Baron buff, but I actually think in the case of their siege comp here that after they tidy up these side waves, they should look to rotate and group together as 5 rather than trying to split push all these multiple lanes.
Easy, am I right?
Yeah, theoretically easy. It's a lot harder to do this kind of stuff in game though. Oh, that is a dead Varus. Can Thresh peel enough? He's trying, but they're getting no damage back on that Diana. But here's the collapse. 5-man. Diana is dead. Varus gets out of range of Jhin ult. And that's a pick, and that's going to be at least 1 turret in this bot lane.
UNCC trying to respond to the mid lane push.
Yeah, Jhin and they're looking to trade mid lane, but this is mid lane outer for bot lane inner.
This is a very bad.
And they're going to be able to keep pushing. Yeah, this is a really bad trade. Charlotte needs to get back. They're going to lose this base race. And instead of conceding 1, maybe 2 turrets, they're going to be conceding an inhibitor here. And they might still have to fight under their own Nexus turrets. This is
bad trade.
Bad trading out of Charlotte. Vanderbilt showing us that their macro is not to be underestimated either. Turning that aggressive attempt at a pick by Diana on its head. Barely getting Varus out of there alive. And a brush pick play turns into 3 turrets and an inhibitor for Vanderbilt. And now they are solidly 4,000 gold up over Charlotte. And again, this just continues to hinder the split push because now one of your so-called split pushers is really just on glorified super minion cleanup for the next 5 minutes. And Diana's going to try and push out that wave as far as she can, but it's going to be really tough to push into supers. And now Yorick, not really able to split push because they can't contend with the 5v5 threat. They're going to try and sneak a Baron, but or sneak a Ocean Drake, but this is going to be Ocean Drake for mid-inner turret. What's really going to depend is how good of a flank fight do they get off. Well, Charlotte have full vision here, and Vanderbilt got a little too cute trying to stay out of vision. They'll get a top outer turret, but frankly, I'd actually trade that willingly for the Drake. That Ocean Drake is going to help a lot to counter the Siege and Poke, already Ocean Drake and Baron empowered from Vanderbilt. Still going to cost them an outer turret, though. Not really wanting to fight against the Poke, and Diana wasn't there yet, so it would have been a 4v5. I can understand that. Those outer, the side lane inner turrets are some of the hardest turrets to hold in the game, but we've got to fight. Diana trying to engage, but instead she just finds herself blown up. The chain of corruption goes through the entire Charlotte team, and they're just going to clean everything up. Jhin, the only one left alive, and that's just for a little bit. Varus stealing the Penta. Maokai trying to take up the turrets so that they can end the game, but just not enough health, and they're going to have to settle for taking the inhib first. Respawn timers are pretty short, and they're on low health, so Vanderbilt, if they're smart, will back off after this inhibitor, but no, they're going to try and fin. No, they realized they looked at the spawn timers, they realized they need to get out of here. Just too low health to finish the game, but that is 2 inhibs and an ace, and almost a pentakill for the Corki.
Yeah, this is why Corki is so strong. That Infinity Edge with his passive is just ridiculous amounts of damage.
And the chain of corruption from Varus was absolutely beautiful. Locked down the Diana, and then the chase from Charlotte was so intense that all four other members got hit with the chain right after that. All four. Every single person. And so they were so grouped up that he's able to get a big piercing arrow through everyone with the stacks on, and that just sets everyone up to die to Corki rockets, and he just cleaned up.
We're gonna have to see what the Corki package can do.
I think what it's going to do is cut off Diana while the rest of the team collapses. Oh, dodges the rocket, but not the piercing arrow. Corki Valkyrieing over a bit too aggressive, gives up his life in the trade. But Maokai just goes in and does not care. Face tanks the entire team, and I think he's lost maybe 400 HP? Maybe? Yeah, they should just be able to win the game off of this. 3 for 1. But Varus is still up, and he does plenty of damage to these structures, as does the Kha'Zix. Jhin and Rengar just have no real hope of holding this. Exhaust goes down on the Rengar. Varus is just going to kite this off. They're going to chase him down. Kha'Zix picks up the kill, but one Nexus turret is already down. Jhin is contained to the fountain. Diana's respawning, but the Nexus is already down to half health. And this is going to be game for Vanderbilt once they decide they've gotten enough kills.
And good game. That is 2-0.
Charlotte did a good job in that game getting a lead and setting up their... They got lost, and they didn't know what to do. They weren't able to ever convert down the mid lane. That mid lane outer is still up at very low health, but still up. And I really feel like the limitations of their comp just took over once they lost that big fight in the mid lane, got aced, and gave up the Baron.
Yeah,
and the poke and siege was just too strong. They didn't have enough wave clear. And that really harkens back to the limitations they set for themselves in this draft with the Yorick. Bruisery wins the lane, but no good wave clear. Can't tank super hard. And again, the Diana building Bruiser, but not that much wave clear. Both of those are melee. The only range on this team is Nami and Jhin, and neither one of those are particularly good wave clear champions.
If I were Charlotte, just give the 1-3-1 split push. Make Vanderbilt have bad mistakes, bad moves, and then capitalize.
I think they did a good job using the 1-1 to gain advantages in the side lanes. But the real shortcoming was because they could not get any mid pressure. They couldn't rotate from the side lanes into mid effectively. And so they couldn't get turrets in the mid lane. And when that big decisive fight for mid lane control happened, Vanderbilt just out team fought Charlotte horribly.
Yeah, no tank, no front lane.
If Charlotte wins that fight, they get 2 turrets in the mid lane, maybe Baron, and probably win the game. But instead, Vanderbilt won that team fight. They got the Baron, and Baron plus their siege comp, and it's just that fight goes the other way, and I think this game goes the other way.
Yeah, it all came down to the one fight.
That one fight at around, it was what, 21 minutes? 21, 22 minutes?
Yeah, pretty much.
But you see how fast Vanderbilt was able to close out the game after that fight because of how good their siege. And yeah, it was like right around 21 minutes, that Baron take.
But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Mr. Silent Angel, who loves angel beats.
Way too much, it's a problem.
And Kaon.
Way too much, it's a problem.
And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And I'll see you guys hopefully in the next season. If not, please come to the LAN. Disney coming Saturday. Have fun. Play games. Lose games, most importantly. And be plebs like everyone else. Thanks for watching.
Thanks to everyone.